Have you ever heard of the name Bolo Yeung? This man is better known as the towering figure of classic martial arts cinema, and his life's journey from humble beginnings to his intimidating screen presence is a story as captivating as his on-screen persona. As we explore Yeung's life, history, and struggle, he emerges as a man whom people don't understand at all. So join us as we get into the life and tragic end of Bolo Yeung. Early life. Born on July 3, 1946 in Guangzhou, China, Bolo Yeung was born at a time when his nation was going through some pretty profound changes. Raised in a world far removed from Hollywood glamour, Yeung's early years were marked by China's struggle for its own identity. One of the very first things that Bolo found fascination with was martial arts, because it brought him peace amidst the chaos that surrounded him at the time. At just 10 years old, he started his kung fu training, where martial arts became not just a means of defense, but an actual way of life. This training taught him discipline and focus, and with a foundation like this, there was no way Yeung was ever going to lag behind in anything. But his martial arts journey transformed entirely with Tai Chi, which basically blended combat with meditation and health benefits. With this, he created a harmony that he carried through his life. This was because right in the middle of China's political turmoil, marked by communism's rise and human rights abuses, Yeung just wanted to escape. So in order to turn that dream into reality, he swam across the border to Hong Kong. With this act, he gained not just physical, but also metaphorical freedom from whatever was holding him back in China. But his journey to Hong Kong proved to be anything but easy for Yeung. He actually had to swim across the Shenzhen River, the border between mainland China and Hong Kong. This river is famous for its unforgiving currents, and all of the people who were seeking refuge in the British colony at the time had to face this challenge to get across. It was a life and death matter, but for Yeung, it represented a pathway to a new beginning. His arrival in Hong Kong marked the close of one chapter and the dawn of another. And once he was finally in Hong Kong's cultural hub, he found a new passion, which ended up shaping both his physicality and screen persona, and laid the foundation for his future in martial arts cinema, as you're about to see. The move to Hong Kong. When he moved from mainland China to the British colony of Hong Kong, it was seen as a brave move to escape. It showed Yeung's need for a fresh start, which he eventually got to have, and after that, nobody could mess with this man. Hong Kong had bustling streets, a rich culture, and a balance of Eastern and Western influences, all of which were things that had never existed in Yeung's life before. In the 60s, Hong Kong was a land of promise, where aspirations were easily pursued and dreams were realized within moments. With so many opportunities waiting for him to avail them, Yeung found himself in a city that was full to the brim with energy and potential. He adapted almost effortlessly to his new surroundings, and was able to secure employment while also continuing his martial arts and bodybuilding training. The dynamic culture of Hong Kong provided fertile ground for his talents to thrive. In the 60s and 70s, bodybuilding got a lot of attention in Hong Kong, and this gave Yeung the golden opportunity to sculpt his physique into a form that people would be scared of. Yeung was drawn to the discipline of the sport and the art of sculpting the body because he saw it as a natural extension of his martial arts training. His dedication to bodybuilding was unmatched, with a rigorous training regimen and strict diet quickly transforming his physique. This earned him the admiration and respect of his friends in the bodybuilding community. His training soon led to a massive win at the Mr. Hong Kong competition. This victory showcased his personal dedication, but that wasn't the end of it. It also brought him under the spotlight, and right there, he began to catch the eyes of film producers. And folks, this is how his journey into the cinematic world really began. Studios like Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest were practically leading cinematic innovation at that time, which they did by producing multiple martial arts and action films, providing Yeung with a platform to showcase his skills and begin his journey to stardom. But how? You're just about to find out. Yeung's movie career begins. As soon as directors and producers saw him, they knew that Yeung's impressive physique and martial arts background made him perfect for action roles. But he didn't become a star instantly. At first, he got small parts in local productions, and although they were minor, these early appearances laid the base for his future career. Among the most striking things about him were his unique appearance and on-screen charisma, which would always catch the eye of filmmakers. He eventually got a reputation for doing justice to the roles of villains after performing them almost effortlessly, which was a surprise for most, considering how adapting to life in Hong Kong had some challenges. A lot of times, cultural and linguistic differences became obstacles in his way, but Yeung's adaptability saw him through as he immersed himself in the local culture, learning Cantonese and adjusting to the city's way of life. This period of his life showed how Yeung's physical abilities and commitment opened doors to fame and cinematic success. Still, his breakthrough was yet to come, and it wasn't too far away either. Work with the Shaw Brothers. The Shaw Brothers studio saw his potential and cast him in roles that solidified his reputation as an intimidating screen presence. This studio was an absolute powerhouse in the Hong Kong film industry and was well known for its martial arts movies. Yeung did films with these folks, which included The Heroic Ones, Angry Guest, and The Deadly Duo. This was the place that provided Yeung with the perfect platform to showcase his blend of skills and intimidating presence. With each performance, Yeung's blend of physicality and subtlety made his characters both feared and respected. With his association with the Shaw Brothers, a turning point appeared in his life, where he could perform complex fight scenes with realism and intensity, setting him apart from his peers working in the same field. But that's not all. In collaboration with the Shaw Brothers, Yeung got to work with some of the most talented people in the film industry, including directors, choreographers, and fellow actors. His time with the Shaw Brothers wasn't merely a string of film roles, it defined his legacy in martial arts cinema. The characters he embodied during this era became iconic, significantly contributing to the genre's popularity and evolution. His work with the studio solidified his reputation as a talented martial artist and actor, symbolizing the genre's golden age. The films he crafted with the Shaw Brothers endure as classics, celebrated for their action sequences, storytelling, and memorable characters. But none of his collaborations swear quite as extraordinary as the one coming up: A Meeting with Bruce Lee. While both Lee and Yeung were filming a commercial for Winston cigarettes, they crossed each other's paths, and that changed things forever. As soon as Lee met Yeung, he was entirely impressed by Bolo's imposing figure and martial arts abilities, which were like nothing he had seen before, so he cast him in the iconic movie Enter the Dragon in 1973. As he took on the role of the villain named Bolo, you probably understand where his name came from. Bolo would later become his widely recognized stage name, but his gripping portrayal in the film received massive amounts of praise. He was set to become a martial arts film star, and nothing could get in his way. As Lee and Yeung worked closely together on technique training, their bond grew much stronger, with Yeung later expressing gratitude for having the privilege of calling Lee his friend. But in the wake of the success of Enter the Dragon, Bolo Yeung continued to leave his mark on the martial arts film genre, often portraying memorable antagonists. One of the best things about his portrayals was just how captivating the on-screen confrontations were whenever he was playing a villain. Bolo Yeung's distinctive appearance, known for his muscular build and intense gaze, has cemented his status as an iconic figure in pop culture. His portrayal of menacing villains left an enduring impact on audiences worldwide and played a significant role in the surge of popularity enjoyed by martial arts films during the 70s and 80s. His characters embodied the archetype of the seemingly unbeatable adversary, injecting an extra dose of excitement and suspense into the action-packed films in which he starred. The film Lee and Yeung did together went beyond commercial success to become a cultural phenomenon, introducing audiences worldwide to the artistry of martial arts cinema. Lee's untimely death in 1973 dealt a massive blow to Yeung. He wasn't just a friend and colleague, but an inspiration and guiding light as well. But what was this film really about? Everything about Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee, who has been an exceptionally important figure in combat, took center stage in the 1973 masterpiece, Enter the Dragon. Directed by Robert Clouse and featuring a star-studded cast including John Saxon and Jim Kelly, this film marked the absolute height of Lee's cinematic legacy, right alongside Yeung. But tragedy still loomed over the production, as it became Lee's final completed work before his death on July 20th, 1973, at the young age of 32. Premiering in Los Angeles on August 19, 1973, Enter the Dragon emerged as a monumental success, grossing over $400 million worldwide against a modest budget of only $850,000. The film was set under an American-Hong Kong co-production, and it intertwined martial arts talents with the intrigue of espionage, paving the way for a brand new genre that made audiences think about some very important things. Lee plays the role of a highly skilled martial artist from Hong Kong, approached by a British intelligence agent named Braithwaite to infiltrate the domain of a notorious crime lord named Han. In the film, Yeung plays the role of one of Han's right-hand men, one of those hulking figures that are meant to leave you shivering in fear. The film is set on Han's private island, where a martial arts tournament serves as a facade for him to hide his illegal activities, including drug trafficking and exploitative trafficking. As Lee dives deeper into the heart of darkness, he finds that a personal vendetta has been waiting for him. O'Hara, the man responsible for the death of Lee's sister, lurks within Han's inner circle as his bodyguard. Right in the middle of the chaos of the tournament, Lee goes through a treacherous path, forging friendships with fellow competitors such as Roper, a gambling addict burdened by debt, and Williams, a fellow Vietnam War veteran. The tension gets worse as Lee is able to uncover Han's nefarious schemes, risking everything he's got to gather evidence against the crime lord. With each passing day, the stakes soar higher, and eventually, it all culminates in a showdown nobody had been expecting. Lee's unmatched skills are put to the test as he confronts adversaries and navigates a labyrinth of deceit. As the narrative unfolds, alliances are forged and betrayals exposed. Lee runs after justice, and this struggle intertwines with the personal struggles of his comrades. Along with this mind-blowing narrative come the action sequences and pulse-pounding suspense, which then form the true essence of Enter the Dragon. Beyond its cinematic success, Enter the Dragon goes way beyond the silver screen and has left a mark on pop culture that will remain forever. Its influence reverberates across generations, inspiring hundreds of creative endeavors, from action films and television shows to video games and comic books. Lee's iconic portrayal of the martial arts master continues to captivate audiences. Now, all of that is great, but there's more to these recurrent roles that Yeung continues to get all the time. The villain stereotype. Yeung was usually cast in roles that required both physical abilities and depth of character, and he did it so well that he ended up redefining the typical villain. His portrayals were mostly very complex, and he was always fully present, no matter what. His characters, though ruthless and powerful, were still honorable and disciplined, which was true to his own self as well. Through intense physical preparation combining bodybuilding and martial arts, Yeung managed to perform the most powerful and precise fight scenes, and nobody could deny just how skilled he was in his craft. He was working in an industry where villains often fell into stereotypes, but there was something about Yeung's performances that stood out, to the point that he became relatable. His ability to humanize the villain showed just how much effort he put into understanding the character he was portraying. Especially when it came to the Shaw Brothers films, Yeung's characters were almost always at the center of the narrative, driving the plot and adding complexity to the storyline. Through his compelling performances, Yeung not only made the villainous characters better in every sense, but also forever changed the perception of antagonists in martial arts cinema. Where they were mostly viewed as inconsequential and automatically hated by the audience, Yeung made people believe otherwise. But even after Lee passed away and Yeung could never replicate the connection they had, he managed to make his mark in several other ways. Bolo's career after Bruce Lee. In the 70s, Yeung's career expanded beyond traditional acting roles, embracing diverse opportunities in the entertainment industry. Not only did he excel as an actor, but he also went headfirst into exploration of other areas like stunt coordination, displaying his versatility both in front of and behind the camera. As the decade drew to a close, Yeung's creative ambition led him to explore directing, marking his debut with two films, Bolo in 1977 and Writing Kung Fu in 1979. These projects became precursors to a prolific period in the 80s, during which Yeung got his hands on more than 30 screen credits, showcasing his range and adaptability as a performer. However, it was the latter part of the 80s and the early 90s that witnessed Yeung's resurgence on the international stage. For the Generation X audience, Yeung was just like the legendary Bruce Lee, his association with whom had already solidified his place in martial arts cinema history. But for the millennial generation, Yeung became equally synonymous with Jean-Claude Van Damme, both of whom brought about a new era of collaborations. The monumental success of films like Bloodsport in 1989 and Double Impact in 1991 thrust Yeung back into the spotlight, showcasing his on-screen presence alongside Van Damme. These movies not only showed Yeung's mastery of the craft, but also confirmed his reputation as the Chinese Hercules, standing toe-to-toe with Van Damme, known as the Muscles from Brussels. Yeung's portrayal of memorable characters like Chong Li in Bloodsport and Moon in Double Impact captivated audiences worldwide, earning him acclaim for his ability to embody compelling antagonists. The MVD Rewind collection also paid homage to Yeung's enduring legacy by releasing a Bolo Yeung Classics double feature Blu-ray. This collection includes high-definition transfers of lesser-known films such as Blood Fight and Ironheart, offering viewers a deeper dive into Yeung's post-Bloodsport years. But these movies were way more than just their names and appearances. An in-depth look into Bloodsport. Within martial arts cinema, Bloodsport has come out as a tale of courage and combat. Directed by Newt Arnold and released on February 26, 1988, the film stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, Leah Ayres, Forrest Whitaker, Donald Gibb, Roy Chiao, and Bolo Yeung. It revolves around Frank Dux, who is played by Van Damme, a skilled ninjutsu practitioner and United States Army captain who goes to Hong Kong to compete in the underground Kumite martial arts tournament. The movie is marketed as a true story based on Dux's claims and is marked as one of Van Damme's earliest lead roles, which basically shot him to stardom in the action genre. The screenplay has taken inspiration from Dux's accounts, as featured in the November 1980 issue of Black Belt magazine, where he served as the action choreographer and technical advisor. But controversies surrounding Dux's claims surfaced after the release, with co-screenwriter Sheldon Lettich testifying against the authenticity of events portrayed in the film. Despite the mixed critical reception, Bloodsport proved to be a box office hit, grossing $50 million on a modest budget of $1.5 to $2.3 million. Its success led to the creation of a series of sequels and earned a dedicated cult following, influencing the development of mixed martial arts and inspiring various cultural phenomena. When it comes to the plot of the film, it's all based on Frank Dux's journey as he defies military orders to participate in the Kumite tournament, facing opposition from law enforcement agents Helmer and Rollins. Along with his newfound friends, American fighter Ray Jackson and guide Victor Lin, Dux navigates the treacherous world of underground martial arts. Despite facing some pretty scary adversaries like the ruthless champion Chong Li, who is being portrayed by Bolo Yeung, Dux remains determined to emerge victorious and uphold his honor. As the tournament progresses, Dux forms a bond with American journalist Janice Kent, who is trying to uncover the truth behind the Kumite. Despite her warnings, Dux remains steadfast in his quest for glory, even as his encounters with adversaries grow increasingly dangerous with the passing time. Ultimately, Dux's resolve is put to the test as he confronts Lee, employing the skills imparted to him by his mentor, Senzo Tanaka, to come out as the winner. Aside from the idea, the film is made on location in Hong Kong and offers a glimpse into the vibrant cityscape of the late 80s, capturing iconic landmarks and locales. Its impact extends beyond the silver screen, influencing the popularity of full-contact and mixed-style martial arts competitions. From inspiring professional athletes like Mirko Cro Cop to shaping the landscape of professional wrestling events like Game Changer Wrestling Bloodsport, the film's legacy endures, just like the next project coming up. How Double Impact unfolded. In 1991, Double Impact came out onto the screens as an American action film written and directed by Sheldon Lettich. featuring Jean-Claude Van Damme in the dual roles of Chad and Alex Wagner, twins separated by fate. This collaboration marked Van Damme's third with Lettich, who previously worked together on Bloodsport and Lionheart, and his second with Yeung, their first being Bloodsport. Released on August 9, 1991, the film talks about a story of vengeance and sibling bonds against the backdrop of Hong Kong and Los Angeles. The plot unfolds in 1966 Hong Kong, where business gurus like Paul Wagner and Nigel Griffith celebrate the beginning of the Victoria Harbour Tunnel, alongside Paul's wife Catherine and their identical twin sons, Chad and Alex. But triad assailants attack, and Paul is left dead while Catherine ends up being at the mercy of the ruthless Moon, a henchman. Separated in the middle of all this chaos, Chad is raised by family friend Frank Avery in France, while Alex grows up in Hong Kong. 2 decades later, in 1991 Los Angeles, Chad and Frank operate a successful martial arts business until a revelation shakes their world. In reality, they are long-lost twins. As the brothers navigate their newfound connection, they go out there to reclaim their rightful share of the tunnel royalties. However, their journey is full of danger as they meet adversaries like Griffith and Raymond Zhang, who are looking to thwart their plans at every turn. Amidst betrayal and deception, the brothers must learn to trust each other and confront their past to secure their future. Double Impact blends elements of martial arts skills with a compelling narrative of family ties and redemption. With heart-stopping fight sequences and breathtaking stunts, the film captivates audiences, showcasing Van Damme's versatility as both an actor and a martial artist. As the brothers reconcile their differences and unite against their enemies, they demonstrate the enduring power of kinship and resilience in the face of adversity. Filmed across vibrant locales in Los Angeles and Hong Kong, Double Impact captures the essence of both cities, from the streets to the serene harbor fronts. The film's evocative soundtrack, composed by Arthur Kemple, further enhances the viewing experience, immersing audiences in the high-octane world of the Wagners. While Double Impact received mixed reviews upon its release, with critics praising its action sequences while critiquing its storyline, the film found success at the box office, grossing over $30 million in the United States alone. Despite plans for a sequel falling through due to logistical challenges and rights issues, the legacy of Double Impact endures, cementing its status as a beloved entry in the action genre. But were there any more film roles that Yeung explored beyond this point? Or was his career finally ending? More film roles. Later on, a movie titled Tiger Claws came up in Yeung's filmography. This was a 1991 crime drama directed by Kelly Macon, in which the stage is set for a relentless pursuit of justice while standing against the worst of evil. Detective Linda Masterson finds herself thrust into a disturbing investigation as a series of murders grips the city. Each victim is a master of martial arts, and they all fall prey to a ruthless killer whose brutal methods leave no room for mercy. This killer is played by Yang, and with the pressure mounting, Masterson teams up with Sergeant Tarek Richards, a skilled martial artist, to track down the culprit. As Masterson and Richards delve deeper into the case, they uncover a sinister connection. The killer brings into use the ancient and deadly art of tiger-style kung fu. Now, they're dead set on bringing the perpetrator to justice, so Richards begins a journey of self-discovery, renewing his training in tiger style to face the menace head-on. With each step closer to the truth, the stakes soar higher, and the line between hunter and prey blurs. But the battle for justice is far from over with just this one film. Kelly Macon was so impressed by Yeung's portrayal and his presence on screen that he created roles specifically for him. In Tiger Claws 2000, which is a science fiction epic set in a dystopian future, the struggle for survival takes on a whole new dimension. In the middle of the ruins of an ecological disaster, Jason Storm, a member of the elite tracker communicators, finds himself stuck in a game of cat and mouse that could actually prove to be fatal. He's tasked with protecting an underground city from marauding survivors of the surface world, and he ends up facing hostilities from both within and without. As Storm navigates the treacherous landscape of betrayal and deception, he forms an unlikely alliance with Sumai, a martial arts master, and his daughter. Together, they take the cover off a web of conspiracy that threatens to plunge the world into chaos. With time running out, Storm must confront his own demons and embrace his destiny as a warrior. But the greatest threat lies within the city itself. As the controller schemes to unleash a deadly arsenal of biological weapons, Storm and his allies race against the clock to ruin his plans. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, they must stand united against the forces of darkness. In a pulse-pounding climax, Storm and Sumai lead a bold assault on the controller's stronghold, facing off against tons of enemies in a desperate bid for survival. As the battle rages on, alliances are forged and betrayals exposed, leading to a final showdown that will determine the fate of the world. In the end, it is not just a fight for survival, but a quest for redemption. As Storm confronts the demons of his past and embraces his true destiny, he emerges victorious, a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness. Now, this was one of the final films in his cinematic journey, and soon, the end of his career unfolded in front of everyone's eyes. The end of Yeung's career. Yeung's trajectory toward fame in the late 80s and early 90s left a mark on both the martial arts and action film genres. It has inspired countless aspiring martial artists and actors worldwide. His journey from a martial artist in Hong Kong to an international cinema icon served as a light for aspiring performers, illustrating martial arts' capacity to transcend cultural and geographical boundaries. Yeung remained actively involved in the bodybuilding community, often appearing as a guest in bodybuilding events. As Yeung's career shifted tides, his legacy continued to resonate, leaving an indelible imprint on martial arts cinema and inspiring the generations to come. In moments of reflection, Bolo Yeung often delved into the roles and experiences that molded him, both as an actor and as a person. The impact of Bruce Lee's tragic demise on Bolo was intense. It was a tragic incident for him to come to terms with, leaving him forlorn and depressed. It took Bolo about 17 years to come to grips with this monumental loss. Bolo took pride in his work, especially in his collaborations with icons like Bruce Lee and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and in films such as Enter the Dragon and Bloodsport. These reflections offered glimpses into the man behind the on-screen persona, revealing a depth and thoughtfulness often overshadowed by his imposing presence. Yeung's legacy in the world of martial arts cinema is monumental. He shattered barriers and stereotypes, bringing a unique blend of martial arts skills, physicality, and acting prowess to his roles. Bolo's impact on the genre endures, with his performances continuing to inspire filmmakers and actors alike. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.